Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kalam Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakudash. Then double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, G Master, do rule, teach well. And today we're gonna be going over some basics. We're gonna start at Deuteronomy 8 and 9. We're gonna go down to 14 and maybe read on down to 21, 26, 27. I just really want to hone in on Maccabees and everything. Now I'm getting to the end of the book of Maccabees. I think I'm up to chapter 14. Still the same chapter. Just been trying to get some reading in, but I spent the whole day just in between little breaks at work, just digging, doing research, and really just trying to look at the history and everything. Not being too deep, of course, but looking for some things so I can brainstorm on this video, so I don't fall asleep while I'm out there, spiritually fall asleep, So just want to talk about, I'm just going to kind of run through this. I'm going to focus on the 13th, 14th verse. Right out of them came forth a little horn, which was exceeding great toward the south and toward the east, towards the pleasant land. Right? You see the read on the head talks about the he-goat, which represents the Edomite Greeks, right? Because the Greeks, I think they were called the Hellenes. All the way back then, you had the Dorians, the Achaean League, all those guys, Athenians, Lacedaemonians, which are Spartans, which those are Jakes, all those different groups, out there. In Greece, I guess I had the Cretans, which the original Cretans were Minoans, and if I'm correct, I remember reading about this, the Minoans were actually, original Minoans were actually Hamites. They call them Caphtorim, or I think it's Caphtaria. I broke it down a long time ago. Maybe I'll go back into that one of these days. It was just a little article I found. It's not really something crazy, but it's just kind of a cool thing to kind of figure out. Right, so one of them give a little horn. This is not the same little horn from Daniel the 7th chapter. Right, we know that's talking about America. It's another little horn, because it's still dealing with the Greeks, which were exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, right? And at the south you got Egypt, right, which it started with Antiochus the Third, who I think he was the one who wrested with Coele-Syria, which is Syria, which whole region of Syria, Israel, our land, and then Edom, all those areas. They call that Coele-Syria. Toward the east, in his own land, land that he was taking over, one near Iran, Iraq, all those regions right out there. Of course, Seleucid Empire had the largest amount of land. Antiochus Epiphanes won battles against the Ptolemies at that time, and there's a piece of history. I'm not gonna get it, but you can read about it in Daniel 11. I can't remember the guy's name. He had a funny little name, but basically when he was trying to take over all of Egypt, the Ptolemy at that time called on Rome to help them, and they sent down a Roman leader, general, to go down there and speak to him. He said, it's a line in the sand, you cross this line, beat your ass. And he just turned back and kept it pushing. He was like, alright, because Rome was the big man back then. They were rising up. Still don't know if they were Japhetic or Edomites back then, if Esau already took over. I don't think they did, personally, but I don't know. It's not important. Verse 10, it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and cast down some of the hosts, the stars, stood upon them. right? Host of stars, host of heaven and stars, referring to Israel, right? Titus Epiphanes came against many of the Jews, even the priests, right? And here you go, right? 11 stars may obedience to me. I'm not gonna read all of it, but that's Joseph, his dream. I think it also talks about stars in Revelation 12. Calls us stars. He magnified himself even to the prince of the host. By him the daily sacrifice take away, and the place for sanctuary was cast down. Prince of the host. After Yahushua Titus Epiphanes stopped daily sacrifice by his decree and enforced it heavily. Right? That was one of his big things. Read about that first Maccabees, that he wanted to he wanted all of his kingdom, right? Because he had, as I said before, the Seleucid Empire had the most holdings out of all of the successors to Alexander, out of all the Diadochi or the Diadochi lineages in the Seleucid with the most massive. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna try to have all you guys follow the same exact thing. And he was dead serious about that, and that's why he put many of our people to death. Some were tortured horribly. He talks about that in Second Maccabees, and things like that, man. Many of our people were just straight up slain, murdered, tortured, and brutalized. Right, same things, the same kind of setup they're using with that they try to use with the poke. They were making examples out of people. Oh, you don't want to do this? We take away your jobs. They'll say, oh, no poke, no job. Right? They try to suck the life out of you. And they're gonna do worse with the MOTB. They'll probably brand you as a terrorist or something, or you're just someone who doesn't want to be a part of the system. Well, you can't buy or sell. We're gonna X you out, and then we're gonna have to kill you. Right. So everyone say speaking, and another saint spake, how long shall the sacrifice, which is considered daily sacrifice, to transgression and desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot? Right, the host, the army, right? Saints, it's referring to angels, right? Yeah, another saint. Yeah, because he's speaking to angels. There's a vision. He's not speaking to like some brother. He's speaking to angels here. Man, hold on, I gotta charge my phone before I die. All right, so back into it. So trod underfoot. I wonder what this for. Trod underfoot, tread, trampling. Yeah, because it was literally being tread upon. We're gonna get up article, but man, you read First Maccabees, man. They were wilding, bro. They were straight wilding, bro. They were sacrificing pigs on the altar. They were, trying to rededicate the temple to Zeus, Olympios. Which when I read into the article I'm about to show, our people were really like upset, not just because it was Greek and because it was heathen, but because that thing was basically the same thing as Baal Shemayim, which means Baal, Lord of heavens. So it was like Zeus, Lord of the heavens. They were trying to really replace the Most High out here, And that was his cult, right? And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed, right? 2,300 years, 300 days, right? Math comes out a little over 6 years, right? And he was in power for 9 years. He would not have defiled the temple right away, so scriptures match up with the historical time period. And in 165, you get Judas Maccabees, right? So I want to pull out an article that proves that, it's 100% facts. All right, so we're not going to get into all this stuff, but this is from somethingofchurch.com. What does it say? Rapture of Church. Like, okay. The rapture of rapturechurch.com, right? And what we do is scroll on down a little bit, right? Because, got to get you the right information, and a lot of these things, go off. But they were trying to say that Hasmoneans were like Greek or something. They definitely were adopting Greek stuff. You have all these Greek names. They had Hebrew names, but they were doing Greek names, and they were calling themselves Basilius. So they were definitely on some, weird shit with that. But the Hellenization, that was like a long process with our people, man. Like, ever since, like, after, we built, the Second Temple, after the whole, Persian captivity. People were kind of like slowly being Hellenized, and you had like the Tobiad family out there, of our people. I'm gonna do a whole lesson on the Tobiad family, maybe like a short 10-minute lesson, because you don't gotta go super deep, but you had our people, wicked of our people, who were really into the Greek stuff and pushing it heavy, right? So you have Seleucus, right? So 180, this is BCE, right? Ben Sira finishes his writings. Darius attempts to loot the temple. Simon's schemes against Ananias, right? And that's 2 Maccabees 3 and 4. Right, you can read about that. You would talk about him with the taxing, and I think that's in Daniel 11. You see that right there. Jason appointed high priest, Ananias deposed, right? Hellenization of Jerusalem begins. I think Jason was the one who was real into the Hellenization, right? Menelaus appointed high priest, Jason deposed. 6 Syrian war between Antiochus IV and Ptolemy VI. Antiochus IV invades Egypt, right? 171 to 170, right? So he came to power in 175, right? Antiochus IV's second invasion of Egypt, Roman ultimatum to withdraw obeyed, Jason's coup attempt, right? Second Syrian attack on Jerusalem, massacre by Apollonius, construction of the citadel Acra, enforced Hellenization by Antiochus IV, Judaism outlawed, temple defiled. Alright, so there's your proof. He didn't just start right away with his stuff, right? He had other stuff he was dealing with, right? The death of his brother, right? Hellenization began, but he didn't just, attack and do all this stuff right away. He didn't defile the temple till 167, as you see right here. You see 41, verses 41 to 50. So it didn't begin, right away, right? Maccabean revolt in Modin, slaughter innocents on the Sabbath, great tax led by Matthias, death of Matthias, right? And then you get everything from down there. So I'm gonna let that be that, and Lord willing, you brothers were edified, and I'm gonna say shalom.